A bill introduced in the U.S. Congress could reshape the financial future of Somaliland, a country described as Africa's best-kept secret of 6.2 million people operating largely outside the global banking system for over 3 decades. This landmark bill in the U.S. Congress could be the game-changer Somaliland has been waiting for. For the first time, Washington is taking serious steps to bring Somaliland in from the financial cold. Congressman John Rose, joined by co-sponsors Pat Harrigan and Andy Ogles, has introduced the Somaliland Economic Access and Opportunity Act, legislation directing the U.S. Treasury Secretary to report to Congress within 180 days on the barriers blocking Somaliland from the international financial system, including SWIFT, the global messaging network that banks use to securely send and receive money across borders, and the backbone of virtually every international transaction on Earth, and how the U.S. can facilitate responsible financial engagement. Somaliland's U.S. Representative Bashir Goth called it a historic moment, and the Ministry of Foreign Affairs welcomed it as recognition that financial inclusion serves both nations' economic and security interests. But to understand why this bill carries real weight and real obligations, you need to understand what Somaliland's financial system actually looks like today. This bill also arrives at a pivotal moment in Somaliland's diplomatic story. On December 26, 2025, Israel became the first UN member state to formally recognize Somaliland as an independent and sovereign state, ending more than 3 decades of complete international isolation. No other country has yet followed suit, but on the occasion of Eid, President Abdirahman Mohamed Abdullahi publicly hinted that more recognitions are on the horizon, stating that many governments are moving toward formal acknowledgement. Ethiopia and the UAE have been leading the speculation. Ethiopia has maintained close ties with Somaliland due to massive cross-border trade with Somaliland, and the UAE given its deep investment in Berbera port through DP World. Both notably stayed silent in what many analysts called a strategic ambiguity. For most Somalilanders, the financial system isn't a bank, and that's precisely the problem. Existing banks remain completely disconnected from global financial networks, leaving the Hawala as the only viable way to move funds in and out of the country. Although it has been a lifeline, letting the diaspora send money home, but it comes at a brutal cost. Fees run at roughly 6% per transaction, more than double the 3% target set by the UN's Sustainable Development Goals. When a family survives on few $100s a month from a relative overseas, that 6% is effectively a tax on poverty. And it's not just families. Businesses importing and exporting goods have no direct banking channels to pay or get paid internationally, strangling trade before it even begins. That is not a metaphor. This has been the reality for Somaliland for more than 3 decades. Somaliland's financial ecosystem is effectively controlled by 2 players. Telesom, through its mobile money platform Mobile Money and banking arm Salam Bank, holds 81% of Somaliland's SIM market. Dahabshil, the Hawala giant, facilitates an estimated 76% of remittances and functions as a de facto central bank. Critically, these 2 systems don't even talk to each other. There is no interoperability between them. The question Somaliland must honestly face is whether it has reached the point where it needs to diversify away from 2 private conglomerates running what should be a public financial system. If this bill passes, it doesn't just open doors to SWIFT and international trade finance. It puts Somaliland on the hook for strictly regulating what is currently a Wild West financial sector. Washington will not extend formal financial access to a system it cannot monitor. That means building a robust central banking authority, enforceable anti-money laundering regulations, and real market competition while ensuring Somaliland's financial system is firewalled from that of terrorist haven Somalia. Somaliland has spent 30 years proving it can govern itself. Now it must prove it can regulate itself. The Somaliland Economic Access and Opportunity Act is a genuine signal from Capitol Hill. But the hard work starts the moment the Treasury report hits Congress's desk, and Washington asks whether Somaliland is ready to be a real financial partner. The Hawala fees must come down. The conglomerate grip must be loosened. The regulatory institutions must be strengthened and empowered to regulate. Thanks for watching.